Is clock rate fixed or is it variable? To find out if the clock rate is fixed or variable, let us first understand its relation with both performance as well as power consumption. Clock rate determines how quickly the CPU can execute instructions as well as process data. Thus, the higher the clock rate, the lower would be the CPU execution time. Or, in other words, the higher the clock rate, the better would be the performance. However, high clock rate also means more power consumption, which ultimately results in more heat generation as well. So both these factors, that is performance as well as power consumption, vary with clock rate. And due to high power consumption, there'll be more heat generation as well. Now, most of the modern day devices like mobile phones, laptops, etc. work on a battery. Thus, CPU performance is important. But because these devices operate on a battery, it is even more important to save energy or to use it more efficiently. Apart from that, even the workload isn't always constant. Due to all these reasons, it doesn't make sense to use the same value of clock rate all the time. For example, when the workload is light, or say when the device is in the standby mode, it doesn't make sense to use high clock rate. Due to all these reasons, modern-day processors implement something known as DFS or dynamic frequency scaling. This simply means that the clock rate of the processor is varied dynamically depending on the workload, temperature of the processor, as well as the available juice or battery. The goal of DFS is to optimize performance while minimizing power consumption and heat generation. The clock rate is varied by one more technique which is used by most of the modern-day processors. For example, in Intel's i7, i5 based processors, the clock rate is increased even beyond the base clock rate. Now, when we are talking about DFS or dynamic frequency scaling, we are talking about a range of frequencies until the base clock rate. But for this technique, which is known as Intel's Turbo Boost technology, the clock rate is increased even beyond the base clock rate to provide high performance for certain type of sporadic workloads, provided that there is enough thermal as well as power headroom. So for what type of workloads this technology is used? So as an example, you can consider heavy gaming workload, such as when navigating through a highly detailed environment. Overall, DFS is generally used to throttle the CPU speed, so that we can put power consumption in the front seat rather than performance. And this is especially true for battery-operated devices. And Turbo Boost, which is also a type of DFS, is used to attain high performance for certain type of high-intensity dynamic workloads. So, coming back to our question, is the clock rate fixed or is it variable? So as we discussed in this video, no, the clock rate isn't fixed. It can be varied depending on the needs of the system. When we'll discuss multi-core processors, we'll learn about more details related to Turbo Boost technology. As of for now, like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye world!